Hi friends, it's Nancy. We're going to work away at making this little notebook out of this page. So this is page 29. We're going to carry on with the Edith Holden Springtime project that we've been working on for the last couple weeks. So I've made this booklet twice and I wasn't happy either time, but let's give it another shot. What the hey? What the hey? All right. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to cut this off. Oh, let's turn that over so we can see. Let's say 5 3/8, 4 3/8, 4 3/8. That way we get both those purple flowers in. So we're basically just taking this off. Then I'm going to flip this around and I want to cut this part off so that we can use these words, not the catkins, but the periwinkle and the chaffinch. Chaffinch? It's not a Canadian bird, so I don't know. So I'm going to cut this off, but see where it crosses right here at this leaf? I'm going to avoid cutting through that and I'll fussy cut around that. Okay. So I always say don't move the scissors, move the paper, but that time I needed to move the scissors. So I hope everybody's having a good week. It's been a short week for me, it feels like. I cannot believe it's Thursday evening here. I call it Friday Eve. I have been really busy at work. Lots of catch up from when I had the flu or whatever I had last week. Okay, so I've been going in early and staying late. Now, this here, okay, see there's a flower here and two little standy-uppy leaves on top of this pinky reddy stem. So I want to make sure I don't cut those off. So I've got this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 1/4 inches. And now it might be different in your copy. Don't cut through chaffinches though. There. Okay. So that's pretty. That's a strawberry plant. Who knows? Might use it. So we'll keep chaffinches. I should have Googled how to say that before I embarrass myself. And we'll keep the periwinkle. Catkins can go. Okie pokey. Now, so right here, it's not quite matching up. So this is mostly going to be cut off anyway, where this natural fold is. Well, it's not natural, it was folded when it was in the book. I'm going to cut off that, and I'm going to cut off that, and I will cut there and there. Okay, so this is actually, I'm going to fussy cut from this fold line around these flowers. Okay, let me mark what I'm going to cut, because do I have a pencil? Certainly I have a pencil. So everything that's white here, that's all going to be cut away. And then this part here that's between these two stems up to this leaf, that's going to be cut away. Okay, so I have got my X-Acto knife, but before I do that, I want to reinforce this fold. So I am going to take this little piece, I think that's probably big enough. Yeah, it's big enough. And I'm going to glue it here over the fold. And we'll just use Fabri-Tac because it works fast. Just have no glue come out. So I haven't done a lot of crafting this week. I'm just I'm just exhausted. Now I can't complain because I don't know if I told you this. I had a really good week last week. I can't remember what day it was. It was Thursday or Friday, I guess it was. It was Friday or Thursday. And my boss came to my office door and she said, "Can I see you for a minute?" Okay. What are you gonna get me to do now? So this fold is going to be cut away, so don't worry about that. Okay. And I'm going to use my corner rounder, and I'm going to make these corners. Oh. I should have done these, punched these corners while this was still foldable. So don't do what I just did. Do it the right way. Yeah, so punch or round those corners before you reinforce that fold. Okay. I mean, I can do it by hand, but it looks much nicer when it's done with the chomper. Anyway, so I follow her to the boardroom, which I thought was weird, and she hands me an envelope and I open it up, and in the letter is a letter saying that they've given me a raise, and it was retroactive to September 2019, September 1st, 2019. So I got a nice check as well. And she said, don't say anything to anybody. Keep it on the down low because not everybody is getting a raise. So, my son was working that day in our office because we were having a training in the afternoon, so he didn't bother going all the way down to Cambridge. He just stayed in Kitchener. And so he came to my office, and I said, I'm not supposed to say anything. And he said, oh yeah. So I picked up the envelope and I said, did you get anything that looked like this? And he said, as a matter of fact, I did. And I said, oh. He got a huge raise, like a 20% raise. Very near 20%. I was stunned. And he was offered a promotion, which he is going to accept. It begins in May, which will come with, because it's there's more responsibility, he will also get a raise then. So I am thrilled for him because he had been starting to look around at what his options might be. He briefly talked about going back to school. You know what? I like to have a piece of glass when I'm using my X-Acto. I just find it easier to cut on than the matte. A little less drag. And I said, are you going to take it? And he said, yes. And I said, okay, well, that's good. But I think I had subtly hinted into certain ears that he was looking at other prospects. And if they didn't come up with some sort of a retention plan, he wasn't going to be staying. This wasn't his permanent career. So clearly I let that information drip into the right ears, and I am thrilled. Just thrilled for him. I think my husband is more thrilled. Because Jordan's 26 and we just feel like we've done a good job. Educated him and got him, oh shoot, I went too far. I think it'll be okay. And got him started out in the world, and he's got a nice job and lives in an apartment with his friend and has a car. He just needs a wife, because I need some grandchildren, I'm telling you. But he doesn't like me looking for a wife for him. 26 is young, but I can't help it. I can't help it. I texted my daughter-in-law. I do have a daughter-in-law, and I'm sure she would give me a good reference, because I am an excellent mother-in-law, let me tell you. So they live out in Halifax, my oldest son and his wife. So we see them once or twice a year. It's too far to drive, so it's a flight. It's a flight. It's not a long flight. It's only a 2-hour flight, and it's direct. So, and it's not terrible expensive. So, if we had more time, we would see them more often, maybe. But anyway, that's not the point of the story. So I texted her last night, and I said, do you want to come and spend Easter weekend with me and organize my craft room? And she just was elated with the idea. And she said, do I have to bring Mark? And I said, well, if he wants to come, he can come. So he was going to talk to his, I don't know what they're called. Is it a petty officer? A PO? He's in the Navy. About having that weekend scheduled off so that he could come home for Easter weekend. And he was supposed to let me know today if it was confirmed or not, because I need to book flights for them. So it's not confirmed, so I'm gonna text Andrea later and ask her if she wants me just to book her and she can come alone, because if he's working, she might as well be hanging out with us. So she wants to do an after video for the YouTube channel of my craft room once she gets it all organized. And today she texted me, what kind of label maker do you need? Because I'm going to get some more labels for your label maker. Just to make sure I have enough, because, you know, I can't possibly go to Staples here and get some more. She's such a good girl. She's been doing some crafting recently. When she was here last year and I showed her what a mess my craft room was, she saw I had a Cricut. She says, oh, I want a Cricut. And I said, take it. So we actually had to go out and buy another suitcase so she could pack the Cricut and all the supplies and everything. It was cheaper to take it on the flight than it was to ship it. So she's been using it, and she's been making all kinds of really great things and selling them mainly through Facebook Marketplace. So recently she's been doing these really cute buckets for Easter. Yeah. So she's really artsy craftsy, and her craft room is immaculate. Absolutely immaculate. I saw it when I was there in September. So I'll have to text her and see what she wants to do, whether she wants to come in the summertime maybe, or I don't know, or whether she wants to come by herself. She doesn't mind hanging out with me and Doug by herself. She likes us. She thinks we're great. Just a little. There we go. Okay. Now we're going to do some folds. So I've got my little filthy score thing. Put you back where you belong. And okay. So I think what I want to do, let me look at where I scored this. Oh, I thought I heard somebody come in the house. It was the cat jumping down off the bed. Okay, see how I messed this up? I've got way too many scores in it. I scored through the bird's face. That's not what I want to do. I want to score like on either side of this blossom, like where the center of this blossom is. So I'll do this one. So they're 1/8 of an inch apart. And then I'll score right along there. And another way that in there. Okay. So that gives a little bit of room for the notebook. And then when we put the notebook in and we close it up, it looks like the flowers are just growing out of that bunch of flowers, right? So I'm gonna get some ink going on. And this is a no-sew project this time. I know, strange but true, right? Just grabbing a piece of paper that I can ink on top of. I heard on the news today that in the Waterloo region we have our first confirmed case of COVID-19. So this was a middle-aged lady who had just returned on a flight from Italy. So the flight was from Milan to Toronto, or it was Milan to Lisbon, Lisbon to Toronto on Air Portugal. So she went from the airport to our local hospital, they did test and confirmed that it's the COVID-19 virus, and released her a few hours later so that she could sort of hang out at home on her own. So it doesn't sound like she's that sick. It may be just a very mild case, but it's in the region. So at some point this afternoon, I got an email about what the policy is going to be going forward, dealing with the possibility of an elevated risk. I didn't read it yet, so I don't know. I didn't have time. I was too busy to read and think, and so I was actually at a doctor's office today. There is a health center that's only for refugees to Canada, and the doctor who runs it, I've been working with him and his staff for, well, since I came here, so going on 6 years. And his practice is huge, and it's gone from like 3 people and a volunteer here and there to a ginormous office with so many staff. I was going to say 3 different languages this afternoon, but I only had 2 different languages. And thankfully they had staff there that could help me with the translation. So I could help those people with their legal issues. So the doctor who runs it, though, oh, what a darling. He is such a nice man, and so compassionate, and he thinks outside the box. So we were discussing some cases this afternoon, and we came up with some solutions together. And he said, see, that's how we get things done, is by working together, sharing knowledge and resources. So us being there regularly, seeing patients of this doctor's is new. I mean, we've always worked together collaboratively, but never in his office. Taking a little more off. And he is smoking busy too. And he said he came by, and I was in the middle of an interview, and he said, I want to talk to you. I'll come back. And I said, I want to talk to you, so come back. So I was done all my scheduled appointments, and I went looking for him and couldn't find him. He was in with patients. And then I heard his voice, and I whistled. And he says, oh, I forgot all about you. And I said, I thought maybe you had. I just about forgot all about you. And I want to go. I got stuff to do. So we spent a little time together, coming up with a plan, how we can help a couple of our mutual people. All right. So this is coming together. I'll glue these on first so they don't get lost. My art glitter glue is in the other room, so we'll just use this stuff. I'm probably taking forever because I'm babbling. I also got my taxes done today, so that's awesome. Another thing off my to-do list. Okay. I'd have to do this in 2 rows. Or maybe I'll leave the Latin off. I think that's what I'll do instead. I don't know who else noticed this, but I was rewatching a video I did, well, I don't know, about a week or so ago. I was making something and I'm inking, but I kept hitting the top of my ink pad and ink and get a little more. I don't know if anybody noticed that, but if you did, thank you for not saying anything. Well done. If you want to fussy cut this little tendril out, you can put it in here. I think I will do that. No, I won't do that. I did do that in this one, and then put like the little stem down here where that little flower is, just because I thought that might keep it from getting too bendy, but I will leave that for now. I might come back and do it, but you don't need to listen to me babble on fussy cut. You know how to do that. All right, measuring. Oh, I got these stamps the other day. They're all dogs. They're from Mongolia, actually. There's a Cocker Spaniel and a Papillon. I don't know what that is. That's a collie. I don't know what that is. And Dalmatians, of course. I don't know what these are. Huh. Anyway, there's only the 7 dog stamps, and I know that on the tags that I've been making, the ephemera holding tags, that I have been putting around about 12, 13 stamps on a tag. But if somebody would like me to make them a tag with these dog stamps, shoot me a message on my Etsy, and I will do that. I have tags made. I don't have a dozen dog stamps, and frankly these are too big for me to fit a dozen dog stamps in them, to fit these plus another 5 or 6 stamps. So if you're interested in this set of stamps in a tag that I've had on Etsy, let me know and I will be happy to put that together for you. All right, I know there's dog fans out there. Okay, so just measuring this. So it is 2 3/4 wide by, just about 3 3/4. So I said 2 3/4. I gotta trim this square. So I'm gonna cut something that is about 2 1/2. This is the top of that that page. 2 1/2. Let me measure one more time. Yeah, okay. Looks correct. All is right with the world. I also binge watched recently on Netflix. It's a documentary series called The Trials of Gabriel Fernandez. Now this is a story I hadn't heard about, but the gist of the story is this little boy was murdered by his parents, and I'm going to do this about 3 1/2. So this is 2 1/2 by 3 1/2. And there was lots of service involvement. Child services were involved in the case and were aware that he was being maltreated. But it seemed the system failed this poor boy. He was 8, and it seems like he suffered torture for about, I think they said the last 9 months of his life. There was 4 social workers charged in his murder because they were seen as being complicit with the murder because they didn't take any action. So I just put 2 little dots here because I'm going to punch some holes. And it was a harrowing story, but being a social worker and being interested in law, I work in a legal clinic, I was really interested in the story, and my husband, he was so upset. I can't watch this. So anytime he wasn't here, I would sneak another episode or 2 in. Okay, I'm gonna put some, I should have said I stole this idea from my crafty crush. She was making this tag on a video. I think she posted it last week. So it's on Sunnyside Journals. I'll put a link below so that you can see how she did it. The reason I'm doing it the way I'm doing it is because I hadn't seen the video. I'd only seen a picture, or not a picture. I only saw a video of the finished project. I didn't see the making of. Her videos were published out of order. She messing with me, aren't you, Catherine? And I said, I need to know, is there a video? Yeah, there's a video. I said, because I need to know how to do this. And I couldn't wait. So I just went ahead and started trying to copy her idea. So the idea is that it will have pages in it that are tied in, so that if you want to replace the pages, if it's a little notebook and in your book and you go through all the pages, you can replace them. I'm going to put some eyelets in the front, not in the back. What have I got? Got these little beigey looking ones. They might be okay. That's white. Where's my beigey looking ones? There's one. I don't have a lot of variety in the eyelets because I'm mainly a thrifted sources kind of crafter. You know, I'll occasionally make a random trip to the old Michaels or something. Just, you know, gotta see what's new and fresh. But in general, eyelets are something that I would pick up at a garage sale or a thrift store. Oh, I didn't want to do the front. I want to do the back. Oh, hi, kitty. Hi, kitty. So I'm just going to use my whatchamadoobie. What is this called? Cropper, hopper, chopper, memory keepers, something. I forget what it's called. You know, the thing. It sits eyelets. This one didn't get pushed on. Now the cat is scratching at my chair. Hello, sir. He probably wants me to go to bed. He's a spoiled brat, to say the least, about him. I need some string. Hi. How you doing? I haven't used this stuff yet. Let's give it a shot. And need some paper. These all look pretty little. I keep this little folder within arm's reach that I just put little offcuts of coffee dyed paper and envelopes and scraps that I can use for projects like this. These are pieces of envelope. I don't want to cut into the big stuff. Some of these might not be big enough, but we'll see. We'll see if they are or not. Okay, so the reason I made this is because I'm going to glue this in, and that'll just make this a little stiffer. Okay, so I need my papers to be just slightly smaller than this. So that's probably pretty good length. And this was 2.5 across. Yeah, so I'll cut some like 2.25. Anyway, it would be a very difficult program for people to watch if they're sensitive to violence. It was a difficult watch, and you know, one of the things that made me really mad, the teacher kept calling the child services social worker. She knew her name, and she called her directly and said, "This is what I've seen. You need to do something. This is what I'm seeing." And the social worker, yeah. So then one of the colleagues of the social worker said in an interview, like they were interviewing her, she was not charged in the murder, her colleague was. Well, why didn't the teacher do something? Why did she let that kid go home if she thought the kid was in trouble? Well, because that's not her job. Like, the next thing you know, she'd be charged with kidnapping, the way this stupid systems work sometimes. And I am a social worker. I don't do child protection. I couldn't. I would have 35 children living in my basement, because I just can't take the risk. I'm just not, I'm too risk averse to, you know, going with these computerized risk assessments and, you know, what have you. I'm going to cut a bit off these two. I also couldn't do therapy, because I gotta tell you, I don't want to hear anybody's problems. That's not true. I listen to problems all day, but I wouldn't be very good at unpacking feelings. This is what you gotta do. Now do it. Which is not a very good way to do therapy, I don't think. So I'm too impatient to do that. I think I am in the best line of work. So you're probably wondering, Well, if you don't do child protection, you don't do counseling, what is it you do, Nancy? Well, let me to tell you. I work with a community legal clinic. So a community legal clinic is a nonprofit agency, and it provides legal services to people who are living in poverty. So we see a lot of people who have mental health issues, who, you know, there's generational poverty, new Canadians, people who identify as Indigenous, lots of mental health, drugs, homelessness, all those terrible social ills. And so I advocate for them and help them resolve legal problems. So if their benefits have been cut off, their disability benefits or welfare benefits, so I advocate for them to get, you know, fixed, whatever happened, to get them reinstated. I help people to navigate systems. So, you know, when crisis happens and, you know, you're already facing significant barriers in solving your problems because, you know, you don't speak English, you aren't literate, you're too sick to make decisions. You're in the hospital. I often go to the locked psychiatric unit at the hospital to help people resolve legal issues. And sometimes, you know, they've been in the hospital a long time and now their landlord has evicted them because their rent hasn't been paid. And so they might get discharged from the hospital and go home and have nothing. Like, no clothing, their medications are gone, their ID is gone. They've just been released from a hospital and now they're going to a homeless shelter without anything, none of their belongings, because the landlord has simply gotten rid of it. So I do see that. Mainly, I'm fighting with the government, which makes me insane because it's the government that pays me. So why not just do the right thing and save some resources? I don't know. That being said, I love, love, love my job. I feel like I am helping people to, you know, reset their start button. Sometimes we can't fix their problems. Sometimes we just, you know, have to sit with them and, you know, problem solve with, okay, we can't fix it. How are we going to deal with the outcome, the blast radius of it all? So this is going to slip right in there. So biggest issue is, you know, people who are living so close to absolute destitution, they just don't have the capacity to deal with a lot of stress. So sometimes problems are dealt with by avoidance. You know, if I don't answer the phone, if I don't open my mail, if I don't go to this scheduled hearing, then, you know, nothing bad can happen. I mean, they're intellectually, they know, yeah, I gotta go, and if I don't go, bad things are gonna happen. But emotionally, they, you know, there's a lot of anxiety, there's a lot of panic attacks, depression, yeah, lots and lots of problems like that. So, you know, I saw a lady day before yesterday, Tuesday. And she had a pretty significant problem. And I was a little overwhelmed by it myself. And I shouldn't have said it, but I did. I said, I wish you had come in October. And as soon as I said it, I could have slapped myself, because she wishes she could have been there in October. She wishes she could have come. But for whatever reason, she couldn't. And me telling her that, you know, we would have better chance of helping you if you would just, you know, overcome all your barriers and got here, was not helpful. So I'm not happy with myself about that, but I did apologize to her, and I said I didn't mean the way that sounded. I know that if it was possible for you to have come earlier, you would have. And you're here now, you've come to the right place. We'll do what we can. So, but I've been doing this kind of work for about 10 years now. But it's sometimes really a challenge, because I haven't experienced the same sorts of barriers, you know. I'm white, educated. I'm 7th generation Canadian. I have good family supports. I am connected to my healthcare team. I'm connected to my community. Like, I have a lot of good things happening for me. And so sometimes I frame people's problems from my own perceptions, you know, and, you know, I have to remind myself constantly that the people I work with don't have the same realities that I have. They have terrific skills, they have terrific resilience, but they haven't had the same opportunities. So, yeah, it's a fight. I have to remind myself all the time. So, I'm not the best social worker, but I'm trying. And I think it's a good experience for my students that I have too, because they see that I'm not perfect. And, you know, when when these things creep up on me, I am fully transparent about it, and I just admit when I'm wrong, and, you know, I'm sorry I did this, or I shouldn't have done that. And this is how I'm going to fix it, and I hope that you can forgive me. Overwhelmingly, people I know that I work with, people know, the people that I work with know, the people I work for know that I love my job. I'm passionate about it, and I will give them 100%. Sometimes I mess up a bit, but I'm always trying my best to get back. Okay, enough, Nancy. Anyway, so here's our little booklet. This one turned out better. I didn't exactly explain what I was doing, but you saw what I was doing. It's not rocket surgery. All right, thank you so much for watching this video. We will talk to you again soon, and I'm looking forward to a great weekend of crafting. Take care. Bye-bye.